The email arrives at 6:12 a.m. You weren't asleep when it landed. You were already awake, staring at the ceiling, doing the math on how many days of rent you have left. The subject line says, "Update on your application." You know before you open it. You always know now. You open it anyway. We've decided to move forward with other candidates. Application 47. You don't cry. You stop crying around application 20. You just close the laptop and lie there and let the ceiling keep being a ceiling. We'll come back to this inbox. We'll come back to application 47. But to understand what it costs to reach the other side of it, you have to see every room you sit in before you get there. Level 1, unemployment. You file for benefits on a Tuesday morning at a folding table in your kitchen, the laptop propped against a stack of unopened mail. The state portal crashes twice before it lets you in. The weekly amount, once approved, is $327. Rent is $1,150. The math doesn't work and you already knew it wouldn't. You apply anyway because $327 is not zero, and zero is the only thing scarier than this. You spend 4 hours a day on job boards. You submit resumes into a system that never confirms a human read them. Most listings want 3 to 5 years of experience for a role labeled entry level. You apply anyway. You get an automated reply within 9 minutes of one application. The system rejected you faster than you finished the coffee you made while submitting it. You start tracking your applications in a spreadsheet, not for optimism, for evidence, for something to point to on the days you start believing you're the problem. 47 rows by the end of the month. For responses, 0 interviews. Your friend asks how the search is going over text. You type, "It's going," delete it, type, "Getting some bites," and send that instead. It's not true. You don't know why the lie comes easier than the truth. The first rule, at zero income, rejection isn't information. It's ambient. It's just the weather you live inside now. Level 2, the first offer, $38,000. Retail Operations Coordinator, a title with more syllables than authority. The offer call comes on a Thursday, and you say yes before he finishes the sentence. You don't negotiate. Nobody negotiates from the floor of a well. You start the following Monday. The direct deposit lands 12 days later, and you watch the number move for the first time in 5 months without your stomach dropping. You buy groceries without doing math in the aisle. It feels obscene, almost illegal, to put something in the cart because you want it instead of because it's the cheapest option on the shelf. Your manager is a woman named Corinne who explains the intake process once, at normal speed, and expects you to keep up. You do. You're good at this. You were good at the last 3 things too, but nobody was hiring for those. You still check job boards at night, quietly, on your phone under the blanket. Not because you're unhappy, because the fear doesn't leave just because the offer letter did. You've been unemployed once. Your body remembers what that felt like the way it remembers a burn. The second rule, the first job after nothing isn't chosen. It's accepted the way you'd accept a hand pulling you out of water. Level 3, the invisible search. 14 months in. You're good at the job now. Corinne trusts you with things she didn't trust you with in month 2. But $38,000 in a city where a 1-bedroom runs $1,400 doesn't stretch. It just gets thinner every year. You update your resume on a Sunday night, quietly, in a tab you close fast if anyone walks by. You apply to 9 roles over 3 weeks. 6 say nothing at all. 2 send the same automated language you memorized during unemployment. 1 responds, a coordinator role at a mid-sized logistics company, and schedules a phone screen for Tuesday at 2 p.m. You take the call from your car in the parking garage at work, hunched low in the driver's seat like you're doing something illegal. The recruiter asks why you're looking. You say growth opportunities because the true answer, "I am afraid of staying still," doesn't fit in an interview. She says they'll be in touch. They are not. You check your email compulsively for 6 days, and then you stop checking. Not from peace, from a kind of muscle exhaustion. The third rule, searching while employed doesn't feel safer than searching while unemployed. It just feels lonelier because nobody around you knows you're doing it. Level 4, the first inbound message. A recruiter named Priya messages you on LinkedIn on a Wednesday morning. Came across your profile. Do you have 15 minutes this week? You read it 4 times before you believe it's real. Nobody has ever come across your profile before. You've spent 2 years going toward jobs, not once had a job come toward you. You reply within 11 minutes, which you immediately regret, worried it makes you look desperate, Then remember you spent 14 months applying into silence and decide 11 minutes is fine. The call happens Thursday. She asks about your experience, your comp, your ideal next step, questions nobody has asked you in an interview before, because usually you're the one being evaluated in a single direction. This time it feels like two people looking at each other instead of one person being looked at. She says the range for the role is $58,000 to $64,000. You don't say anything for a second because that number is 60% more than what's currently hitting your account every 2 weeks. You say you're interested. She says she'll be in touch by Monday. She is. The fourth rule. The moment someone comes looking for you instead of the other way around, something in the architecture of the search quietly inverts, and you feel it before you understand it. Level 5, the negotiation. The offer comes in at $61,000. Benefits, hybrid schedule. A year ago, you would have said yes on the call. The way you did at $38,000, grateful and fast, before the fear had time to think better of it. This time you say, "Can I take 48 hours?" Your voice doesn't shake when you say it, which surprises you more than it should. You spend the 2 days reading salary data, checking the market rate for the role in your city, writing and rewriting a single email. You ask for $66,000, citing the market range and a specific project you led that saved your current company real money, a number you actually calculated, $22,000 annually, and included in the email because vague competence doesn't move people, specifics do. The recruiter comes back the next morning. $64,500, plus an extra week of PTO. You take it. You hang up the phone and sit in the silence of your apartment and realize you just asked for more money and gotten some of it, and nothing bad happened. No door closed. No one called you ungrateful. The fifth rule, the first successful negotiation doesn't just change your salary. It quietly kills the belief that asking for more makes you a burden. Level 6, they know your name before you apply. 18 months into the new role, a different recruiter, a man named Desmond, messages you cold, referencing a specific project of yours he found in a company blog post, not your resume, a blog post. "I don't usually reach out this specifically," he writes, "but this felt relevant." You didn't apply anywhere. You weren't looking, not seriously, just idly scrolling the way you always do on Sunday nights out of habit more than hunger. He's sourcing you the way scouts source athletes, watching from a distance before making contact. The role pays $92,000. You take the call mostly out of curiosity, tell yourself you're not really interested, and then spend 40 minutes leaning forward instead of back. 2 weeks later, a second recruiter reaches out about a different company entirely, a role you've never heard of at a firm 3 states away, remote eligible, $98,000. You didn't post anything publicly signaling you were open. Word had simply started to move through channels you can't see, the way reputation moves once it exists outside your control. The sixth rule, at this level you stop being the one knocking. Something you built without noticing started knocking on your behalf. Level 7, Headhunted, 3 at once. It's a Tuesday in March, and your phone has 3 unread messages before 9 a.m., all from different recruiters, all referencing you specifically, one of them addressing you by a nickname only people who've read deep into your work history would know. A director role at a company you respect, $118,000. A VP track position at a startup that just raised a Series B, $126,000 plus equity. A director role at a firm your current company considers a direct competitor, $121,000, and a note at the bottom. Whenever works for you. We'll build the schedule around your calendar. You read that line twice. Nobody has ever built anything around your calendar before. For 6 years, you built your life around other people's calendars, other people's deadlines, other people's decisions about whether you were worth 10 minutes of their Tuesday. Now 3 companies are quietly competing for time you haven't decided to give any of them. You take all 3 calls that week. Not out of greed, out of a kind of disbelief you need to keep testing to confirm it's real. Each recruiter asks what would make you move. Not whether you're qualified. Not why you're looking. What would make you move? The question itself is the tell. You are no longer being screened. You are being courted. The 7th rule. The interview room doesn't change shape at this level. You do. You walk in and, for the first time in your working life, you are not the one hoping to be chosen. You think back, sitting in your kitchen answering a recruiter's email at your own pace, on your own schedule, to the 6:12 a.m. rejection that started this. Application 47. The ceiling you stared at. The $327 a week that didn't cover the rent. You think about how none of these three offers exist without that morning. Without the version of you who kept opening a spreadsheet nobody was grading, who kept submitting resumes into a silence that never once explained itself. The system that ignored you completely at zero is the same labor market, now sending 3 companies to your inbox in a single week. Nothing about the system got kinder. You just stopped being invisible inside it. Somewhere right now, someone is opening an email at 6:12 in the morning because they were already awake, already doing math they can't make work. The subject line says, "Update on your application." They already know before they open it. They open it anyway. They don't know yet that the silence isn't permanent. They don't know the room changes shape the longer you stay in it. Not because someone takes pity, but because persistence eventually becomes a signal the system can't ignore. They close the laptop. They lie there and let the ceiling keep being a ceiling. Tomorrow they'll apply again. Most people stop before the room ever turns. The ones who don't stop find out what application 48 was actually for.